Hi YouTube, it's Kathy and I'm here to tell you about my Pile of Possibilities TBR for the Trans Right Readathon. I was not planning on filming a video today, let alone putting together a TBR for a readathon, which is something I feel like I haven't done in a very, very long time. However, as soon as I woke up this morning, within a few minutes, I found out that Sim Kern is doing the Trans Right Readathon and it's coming up really soon, and I wanted to get this video out as soon as possible so that as many people as possible could participate. The Trans Rights Readathon is taking place March 20th through 27th, so like I said, it's coming up very, very soon. And the purpose of this readathon is not only to read books by trans authors, but also to donate to trans charities. Obviously, with the state of the world as it is, this is a fantastic idea and a fantastic thing to be doing. So even though I am in a different country and I was planning on maybe my next video being a travel vlog or something like that, this is way more important to work on. Since this is an 8-day readathon, I picked 8 books. Let me be clear, I'm not going to be able to read all of them in this time frame, especially because not only am I traveling, I will be traveling during some of those days. I am currently in the UK. By the time this readathon takes place, I will be in Edinburgh, Scotland, but shortly after that I'll be traveling down to Newcastle and then traveling over to Amsterdam and then traveling on to Germany. So I will be in 3 different countries during this readathon. Or 4 depending on if you count the UK as one country or if you count Scotland and England as separate countries. That being said, these are 8 books that I personally have access to right now on my phone, either downloaded as e-arcs or as ebooks that I've downloaded separately than that. So I'm going to tell you about them, tell you the synopsis of them, and then I'm going to tell you about some of the charities that you could be donating to. I am also personally going to make a donation to at least one of these charities. I just haven't quite decided which one because honestly I've only been awake for about an hour. The first book on this Pile of Possibilities TBR for the Trans Right Readathon is The Death of Vivek by Akwaeke Amezi. This book came out in 2020. I've read things by this author before and I've enjoyed them, so I'm looking forward to reading this one as well. And for those who have never heard about this book before, here is the synopsis. Raised by a distant father and an understanding but overprotective mother, Vivek suffers disorienting blackouts, moments of disconnection between self and surroundings. As adolescence gives way to adulthood, Vivek finds solace in friendships with warm, boisterous daughters of the Niger wives, foreign-born women married to Nigerian men. It goes on to say that this is a novel of family and friendship that challenges expectations. If you know anything about me, you know that I don't like to read complete synopses of books because I like to go into them not knowing very much. So just know that through this I'm going to read some of each of the synopses, just enough to give you an understanding of what it's about, but I'm not going to go into usually the second paragraph where it really gets into the nitty-gritty of like what happens and kind of lets you know certain things that are definitely going to happen in the book to spur on what's actually happening. How many times can I say happening in one sentence? The next book on my Pile of Possibilities is a book that actually isn't out yet, and I don't believe it's out until November. Yes, in fact, its publication date is November 28th. However, I am really excited for it, so I might read it this week, because I was very kindly sent an ARC. That is Godly Heavens by H.E. Edgmon. I really enjoyed their previous duology, and this is the start of a new series. The beginning of the synopsis is thus: infatuation, reincarnation, damnation. Jem Eccles is a non-binary Seminole teen living in their tiny town of Grace, Georgia. Known for being their peers' queer awakening, Jem leads hard on charm to disguise the anxious mess they are beneath. The only person privy to their authentic self is another trans kid, Enzo, who's 1,000 long, painful miles away in Brooklyn. But even Enzo doesn't know all of Jem's dreams, haunting visions of magic and violence that have always felt too real. So how the hell does Willa May Hardy? I know a little bit more about this one. I know there's magic and messiness and just queer amazingness, and I'm just so excited because again, I loved The Witch King and The Fae Keeper by this author, so I'm excited to get into this one. The next possibility is Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. Prepare to die, his kingdom is near. 16-year-old trans boy Benji is on the run from the cult that raised him, the fundamentalist sect that unleashed Armageddon and decimated the world's population. Desperately, he searches for a place where the cult can't get their hands on him, or more importantly, the bioweapon they infected him with. This one came out last year and I've heard nothing but great things about it, so again, excited to finally read it. I feel like I'm really setting myself up for failure because I feel like I'm going to read maybe 2 books. I would love to read all 8 of these, but I feel like realistically I'm gonna get through maybe 2 if I really try. Next we have In Shadowed Dreams, which is a novella that recently came out, within the past few days in fact. And this is something I pre-ordered because I saw Audrey over at Perpetual Pages talking about it, and I went, yes, I need that, thank you. Alex is trying to solve a mystery. Raven is that mystery. 9 months ago in New York City, Raven vanished. Not even a body was left behind because Raven's body is still moving. Its new inhabitant is a fictional assassin summoned from the pages of his own world by Raven's magic and desperation as she fought to escape a trap meant to take her life. How fantastic does that sound? That sounds amazing. I'm so excited. Next, to add a little bit of non-fiction to this list, we have Never Say You Can't Survive, How to Get Through Hard Times by Making Up Stories by Charlie Jane Anders. This is her memoir and she has been involved in some very important work over the years, and I'm just so very excited to get into this. Again, how many times can I say excited in this video? This was first published a couple of years ago, and to give you a taste, I'll just let you know the synopsis. Things are scary right now. We've all been swept along by a tidal wave of history, and it's easy to feel helpless. But we're not helpless. We have minds and imaginations and the ability to visualize other worlds and valiant struggles. And writing can be an act of resistance that reminds us that other futures and other ways of living are possible. Full of memoir, personal anecdote, and insight about how to flourish during the present emergency, Never Say You Can't Survive is the perfect manual for creativity in unprecedented times. This definitely sounds like a book we could all use right now. To continue on the non-fiction train, we have Non-Binary Lives, an anthology of intersecting identities. This is exactly what it says on the tin. It has tons of different people who have contributed to it, and from what I've read in the reviews, the best ones in this one are the ones that have intersecting identities, and it's obviously important to get tons of different perspectives, so like any anthology, apparently this has its ups and downs, but I'm excited to see what those are for myself. Penultimately on this list is one that again is a little bit unfair to you guys because it's not out until May 9th. However, it's by an author I absolutely adore. In fact, this author actually drew my avatar for this channel. I am of course talking about the next book out from Jen Wilde, which is called This Is the Way the World Ends. Fans of One of Us is Lying and The Hazelwood are cordially invited to spend one fateful night surviving an elite private school's epic masquerade ball in Jen Wilde's debut thriller, This Is the Way the World Ends. Previously, I've read contemporaries by Jen. I've also read a post-apocalyptic series that she wrote many, many years ago, but definitely sign me up for this thriller. As an autistic scholarship student at the prestigious Weber Academy in New York City, Waverly is used to masking to fit in more ways than one. While her classmates are the children of the 1%, Waverly is getting by on tutoring gigs and the generosity of the school's charming and enigmatic dean. So when her tutoring student and resident it girl asks Waverly to attend the school's annual fundraising masquerade disguised as her, Waverly jumps at the chance, especially once she finds out that Ash, the dean's daughter, and her secret ex-girlfriend will be there. That's all I want to know. If you want to know the rest of the synopsis, you can look it up yourself. The final book on this list is a book that I have been meaning to read for absolute ages. I believe it came out last year, and for whatever reason I just haven't gotten around to it, and I feel really bad about it actually. That is Fairy War by E.J. Graham. This is the pen name of Jen Graham, who you will often see in the comment sections of my videos because we are friends. And it's quite possible that I've been putting it off because we're friends, because you never want to read something that your friend has written and then maybe not like it. And I'm scared of that and want to read this in equal measure. When Clint narrowly escapes an attack on his family home, he discovers that the world is far more magical and dangerous than he could have possibly imagined. A battle rages, though it's impossible to most. It isn't between countries and militaries, it's between magical creatures who inhabit Earth alongside humans. It's been getting worse and now threatens to destroy everyone. The only way to succeed is for fairies and humans to unite and work together. And Clint's learned he's one of the new chosen humans who could lead this war. Again, it sounds fantastic, I just haven't gotten around to it and I feel really bad. As for the second important feature of this readathon, which is fundraising for trans charities, I'm going to link a few of them down below. I encourage you to do your own research, and if you are able to donate, definitely do that and let me know down below who you've picked. Like I said, I'm hoping to personally donate to at least one of these organizations, maybe all of them in smaller amounts. I haven't decided yet. The first organization I wanted to highlight is in the UK, as am I, which is why I wanted to highlight it, and that's the Mermaids. This is a charity I've heard about before in passing, and right on their website it says helping gender diverse kids, young people, and their families since 1995. I'm going to put all of the links to these organizations down below so you can check them out for yourself, do your research before making any donations. Next, in the US, I wanted to spotlight GLAAD. If you have not seen what they did last month vis-a-vis the New York Times, they delivered an open letter to tell them to stop platforming transphobes, and the New York Times just continued platforming transphobes like immediately the next day. If I remember, I'm going to link a video by Samantha Lux down below that I recently watched about that whole situation, and of course I'm going to link GLAAD. As for Canadian charities, I'm going to spotlight two of them because I am Canadian, and then I also have a very important petition that I want every Canadian watching this to sign. The first charity is Rainbow Railroad, and their mission statement is "We help LGBTQI+ people escape state-sponsored violence." Essentially, this organization helps people in places where they are not safe get to a place where they will be safe. The final organization I want to highlight for Canada is Egale. If you donate to this organization, your donation will go towards our ongoing research, education, awareness, and legal advocacy initiatives to help create a world without homophobia, biphobia, transphobia, and other forms of oppression so that every person can achieve their full potential free from hatred and bias. In addition, down below I have linked this petition I'm about to talk about, and if you are Canadian, please go sign it immediately. It is open for signing until nearly the end of May. This petition is called E-4268 Citizen and Immigration, and it is a petition to the House of Commons in Canada. It states the following information. The world is becoming increasingly hostile to transgender and non-binary individuals. Transgender and non-binary people's rights to live as themselves are being restricted and removed within many places. This includes the so-called Western democracies, which have historically been presumed safe. The United Kingdom is revising their Equality Act to exclude trans people from its protections. As a side note, this petition was started in January, so some of this information is a little bit outdated because the next piece is more than a dozen American states are enacting or considering legalization, eliminating or criminalizing gender-affirming care. Sadly, I'm pretty sure it's way more than a dozen states at this point. And Canada has prided itself on becoming an inclusive, tolerant, and welcoming society for everyone regardless of gender identity or gender expression. We, the undersigned residents of Canada, call upon the House of Commons to extend transgender and non-binary people the right to claim asylum in Canada by reason of eliminationist laws in their home countries, whatever country that may be. Like I said, you have until May 26th to sign this. Please do that, and make sure you do the two-step process because they'll send you an email to make sure you actually wanted to sign it, and you have to click a link in that email. Make sure to do that. Okay, all of that information is down below. Please go do all the things, research the trans charities of your choice, make donations if you are able to do that. If you do donate, please let me know about it down in the comments below because I would love to know that information. Additionally, if you would like to participate, I've linked all of Sim's information down below, so go make sure that you are following them. I think that's it, but if I've missed anything, it will be down in the description below. It seems like so long since I've done a TBR for something other than the Queer Lit Readathon, which, by the way, the weekend edition of the Queer Lit Readathon is actually taking place during the Trans Right Readathon, so maybe make sure to read a book by a trans author over that weekend. That would make me very, very happy. I'm going to go snuggle some adorable dogs and try to get this up as soon as possible because I want as many of you as possible to know about it before it starts. What actions do you plan to take for this readathon? Let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't feel like leaving a comment but want to make sure that I know you were here, leave me an emoji or smiley face if you happen to be on your keyboard. Some people have asked if there's a way to financially support this channel, so I set up a Ko-fi account, which is a digital tipping service. The link for that is down below. And in fact, if you send me a Ko-fi and you write in the notes that you want that money to go towards a trans charity, I will do that for you. Please like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye.